We are live. Here we go. Rachel, the day
Yes,
is finally here.
I'm finally here, y'all. I am so stoked. I woke up this morning just with this extremely excited attitude. I could not wait for noon Central Time to get here to start our 3-day challenge. I'm stoked.
I know. I'm so excited too. And I hope, we have been talking this up because we just have created this content specifically for you guys. We have created this content to help you guys get to the next level in your virtual assistant businesses, whether you are a new VA, whether you have been down this journey for a while and just you're struggling to make traction, whether you're still in your head about it and deciding even if this is a good choice or not. What we're going to be talking about in this 3-day challenge is how to actually make more money with less time, because let's admit, we are busy people, right? Like, we're spinning a lot of plates. Number two, we're going to be talking about, like, do I actually have the skills? And we're actually going to help you identify. So throughout this challenge, we're going to help you guys actually choose your services. We're going to create your rates. Like, we are going to actually create the packages that you'll be using in your virtual assistant business. It's going to be super hands-on, this entire thing. Okay. So just know, you are just like, brace yourselves. It's going to be a jam-packed training.
So good. I hope you all have your workbook, like whether you printed it off or you have it open in a separate tab. We made it easy and fillable for you. Make sure you have that. I have mine next to me. And you can follow along and take action, because we're going to walk you through actually making decisions for your business.
Yes, 100%. All right, let's go ahead and jump in, you guys. I am so excited. If you are ready to do this, say ready in the comments. Let's go. All right, day one, work less, earn more. Now, if you are anything like I was when I was first starting my virtual assistant business, I was overwhelmed, right? And I think that we all go through different seasons of our life where we are like, man, this is a season that's really heavy for this reason. Maybe it's emotional reasons. Maybe there's things going on in your family. Maybe there's things going on in your job, right? For different reasons, we all have different things happening in our lives. And you have a lot on your plate, right? And raise the hands if you have a lot going on in your life right now. Maybe you're a mom and you're, stressing about, like your kids' activities and keeping up with everything. Maybe you're a teacher and just like, anybody who's a teacher in today's world, like, big kudos to you, because that's a lot, and a teacher job in general is a lot, but especially just with everything that kids are facing now. Maybe you're working a 9 to 5 job, and whether it's something you like or something that is kind of sucking the life out of you, either one. Or if you're an entrepreneur, right? Like, you are an entrepreneur and you are maybe struggling with getting clients, with making money. You guys have a lot on your plate. And I know for me, at least, like, the top questions that I was asking when I was first getting started in my virtual assistant business is, am I really going to be able to do this? Like, anybody else? Like, let's make this super interactive. If anybody else is like, man, I was feeling that same way of, am I really going to be able to do this and spin all the other plates? Because I sometimes have this mentality that, like, if I let this one plate drop, then, like, or if I pick up this new plate, then other things are going to drop. Did you feel that same way, Rachel?
Absolutely. And we all travel, I'm going to use the word travel, along this journey in different places. Like, I don't know where you're sitting, what you have on your plate, whether it's a 9 to 5, whether you're a stay-at-home mom, whatever that looks like for you. For me, I was a stay-at-home mom. I was a teacher, or had been a teacher for years, and I was just looking for something to do on my own. But we're going to share some exciting things with you during this challenge today. And one of them is to challenge you to look at where you are right now and where you want to be. And we're going to really simplify it in this moment. There's a secret, okay, to the connection of where you are right now and where you want to be. Do you have a guess on what that could be? It's real simple. Abby, the secret to where you want to be, or where you are and where you want to be, is you.
You.
You are the secret to what that looks like. Everybody's journey is going to be different. And we're going to kind of walk through that. But I want you to think of that very simple answer. You have everything inside of you to make this happen. We're just going to talk about some of the logistics and practicality behind it and help you make the decisions. Throughout this entire challenge, we're going to talk about how to say yes to you in the time that you have available, using the skills that you already have and shining in your genius. Everybody who's tuning in, whether it's live or catching the replay, y'all have gifts, talents, and abilities that are unique to you that nobody else has the way that you display them. And because of that, you can start a virtual assistant business that is unique than anybody else's. And we're going to walk through what that can look like for you step by step over the next 3 days.
100%. I feel like sometimes we think that like, oh, if I only had this, if I only looked, if I had the skills that this person had, or like I remember early on in my business being really, this is going to sound terrible. Okay. So this is a no judgment zone, but I remember feeling really like kind of jealous of my friends who were single and starting businesses because I was a mom of 2 kids and I'm just like, oh my goodness, like there, if I had as much time as you had, right? But the reality is like this was my situation, and actually a lot of the things that we experience are like our life circumstances can actually be a benefit. So for me, like I only had this much time to get stuff done, right? Like I had this much time. I'm like, kids are in naps. I got to do this. I got to run here. Boom, boom, boom. Which means, guess what? I was so productive in that time. Whereas my single friends, they're like, yeah, I got it. They would literally, we'd like have these groups where we'd get together and talk about our businesses, and they would be like, Abby, how did you get so much done? Right? They're like, I have 10 times more time than you do. I'm like, because I'm very purposeful in our time, right? In the time that I do have. And so I think that sometimes we look at the like our life circumstance sometimes as like, oh, I have this disadvantage, I have this disadvantage. And the reality is that you do have the skills, you do have the time, and we're going to help you just pull that out during this challenge. Let's go ahead and let's jump in. Yay! Here's our goal today. Today, you're going to leave with an actionable plan on how a VA business will work with your life and your schedule. Again, we're making this super personal using our Savvy Time Saver formula. So we're going to be actually working it out together with you guys. So I saw a couple of you guys in the comments saying, I don't know if I got the workbook. And if that is true, go to the virtualsavvy.com/workbook. You don't even have to put in your email or anything. You can literally just download it right now. And we're going to work through this because again, we have seen what are the biggest reasons why people are like, oh, I'm not sure if I can do this, is literally like, do I actually have the time to do this? And it's a real question. So let's figure it out together, guys. Let's do that together in this challenge. Again, this is going to be super practical. Because of that, these 3 days have the capacity to literally change the trajectory of your life. So as we're going through this, guys, be all in. Do it. Download the workbook. It's fillable. If you have the ability to print it, or if you want to have a paper where you're writing it out and then transfer it to it once you print it later. But just really do the assignments. That's the one thing that I would ask is as we're going through the workbook, we created it for this to be interactive, not for it just to be something that you listen to, but something you actually physically go back and do. So whether you're doing it right here alongside us, whether you carve out a little bit time later today to do it, every single one of the days in these challenges actually have built in assignments for you to do. So we're going to school together. You guys ready? Everybody ready?
Let's go. And just for technical reminders, if you have any problems with your video, if the sound goes off or the video, try refreshing, exit out, come back in, try that first and see if that works. And these are all 3 days going to be available for replay too. You can just come back and watch them. If you have to leave, can't stay the whole time, we'll send out the replay too if you signed up for the challenge. So don't worry about catching everything. You can catch it again.
100%. All right, let's go. As you guys are getting your workbooks out or you're downloading it, do know, guys, that this Friday, we do have an extension of this challenge is our actual virtual assistant course. It launches 2 times a year, and everything we cover today and in the next 2 days is just going to be the tip of the iceberg. If you want a step-by-step system for launching, growing, scaling your own at-home business, and you're like, Abby, I like the assignments, just tell me what to do and I'll do it. I know that's how I am. I'm like, like, just tell me what to do. I'm a good student. I can get the work done. That's what the Savvy system is. It is over 100 lessons. It is step-by-step assignments that you just go along the way. And as you do your assignments, you're like, oh my gosh, I have a business, right? And so over 5,000 students have gone through the program. If that's something you're interested in, make sure you go to thesavvysystem.com. You can get on the wait list, and we're going to be sending out a VIP coupon to save you 10% off the cost of the course when we launch on Friday. Yay! So exciting. All right. So I want from a raise of hands, right? From a raise of hands in the comments, you can say, that's me. You can write full. What we're asking is, how many of you feel like your life is already at capacity? It's okay. We can be honest. It's really okay if that's how you're feeling right now. Priscilla says full. Yes, me. This is me 100%. I know that this is where I was at when I first started my business as well. So I was a stay-at-home mom, but I wasn't just a stay-at-home mom. I had any of us know just a stay-at-home mom is not. It's like literally of all the jobs I've ever had, it's probably been the most stressful, right? Because I'm balancing this whole like, I am raising a child and making sure this thing that is now in my capacity doesn't die, right? Like I have to, it is my sole responsibility to like be in the life, to raise another human being. Ooh, that's a lot of pressure. My husband, we were struggling financially. My husband hated his job and was having to work. He was out of the house for 12 hours a day because of the long commutes that he had. Like that pressure of finances, the pressure of family. We were living in a basement apartment in Northern Virginia with one window, and I was having like seasonal issues. I'm like, what is happening? And it felt like things were really full. And so sometimes when you have that feeling of really full, even the thing that could get you out of that full place seems overwhelming. And that's just that is true, right? Is that something that you were feeling too, Rachel?
Absolutely. And my journey was a little bit similar to yours, Abby, in that I was a stay-at-home mom, but my children, like yours, I had two at the time, were very young. My plate was very full, and I had minimal time that was available to me to be able to work. But just like Abby shared earlier today, like that precious time was absolute the best productive time for myself. And so I could use that. Although it felt like I was adding more to my plate, I was actually relieving things off of my plate because of what I was creating for myself and for my family. So absolutely, raise of hand, totally can empathize.
And one of the things, just like to encourage you, if that's what you're feeling, it's a feeling of overwhelm, right? That fullness, like my life is at capacity, I am full. It's a feeling of overwhelm. And so if you want out of that overwhelm, how you do that is you come up with a plan. That's what one of my old coaches would always say, you fight overwhelm with a plan. And that's literally like, if I'm like, what are we doing this week? I sit down, I do my calendar, I plan out dinners, I set out meat that we're gonna, I'm gonna defrost this. Okay, I have a plan, and it instantly becomes less overwhelming. And so that's literally what this challenge is for us to help you guys come up with a plan so that overwhelm doesn't feel so overwhelming. I would also love to ask this. You can do like yes or no in the comments. We'll change it up a little bit. How many of you would say that right now life feels like the freedom life? You probably have an idea in your head of what that would be. But I would just kind of like, I want you to feel it a second, and it's okay if the answer is yes, it's okay if the answer is no. Yeah, I'm seeing a lot of nope. I totally get that. Yeah, this is the real life right here, right? Oh, it's going so fast that I didn't. Ashley says, I constantly have kids climbing on me while I'm doing work with girls under 6, being able to let myself know the plan in the morning rather than flying by the seat of my pants. That's totally, oh my gosh, like I remember posting videos of me like trying to get work done with like my child, just like, what do we say? Like wearing your child as a scarf.
Yep, that's right.
100%. We get it. We know.
We get it.
Okay, cool. So yeah, because here's the reality that most of us don't feel like we're living the freedom life right now. You have this idea, right? You're like, well, here's where I am.
Yeah.
And here's where I want to be, right? And where we want to be and where we are, it actually looks really different for all of you. I've seen some of you guys say in the comments saying like, I'm retired, I'm working a 9 to 5, I'm a single mom, right? Like it looks different for everyone. Where you are looks different for all of you. And where you want to be actually looks different for all of you too, right? Like my dream of what I wanted and that freedom life, to me, it was like not having financial stress. It was being able to travel. Like travel's been such a huge thing in my life that I'm like, I literally, one of my companies this was back when I was single, of course, but like one of my companies created a policy around like how many days you could take off grouped together because they had these bank days, and I would save them all up, and then I would like take like a 4-week vacation, and they're like, you can't do that. I'm like, oh yeah, I guess that's true, because I am just like, I love to travel. I want to experience the world, and I wanted the freedom to be able to do that without having to like ask my boss every single time, can I be off, right? What did the freedom life look like for you, Rachel?
Yeah, great question. And also, as I was thinking, because I knew you were going to ask me that, is mine actually shifted and changed too.
Yeah.
And you're going to find that that's naturally going to happen. Because when I first started my business, like I said earlier, I had 2 young kids at home. We actually were sharing a house, living in the basement of somebody else's house when I started my business. And we wanted to pay off debt. And I wanted to have a little bit of extra cushion of money to go to the gym and work out and put my kids in the child care right at the gym so that I could do that and then pay for my son's preschool. That's all that I really wanted. That felt like a freedom life to me at the time. But once I got into my business, that completely shifted and changed once I realized the potential that was inside of having a virtual assistant business. And so then that changed to being available for my kids and being able to go to their field trips, being able to support them, being able to have something that was mine and build it and grow it into something absolutely amazing.
Yes, 100%. So what is that for you? Where you are, where you want to be. Here's what we're going to do. We're here to bridge that gap. So this 3-day challenge is to help you have an actual actionable plan to get you from where you are to where you want to be. So here, let's go ahead and start. Again, if you go to the virtualsavvy.com/workbook, you guys have a workbook, whether it's printed, whether you're just filling it out, because it is a fillable PDF, or if you just have a good old notebook, right? Like that's fine too. You can just jot down and take a few minutes. We'll sit here for a minute and start to think, what would it look like what is that where you want to be? You can put it in the comments if you want. We'd love that too. What does it actually look like 1 year from now when you're actively living in your freedom life? What does it actually look like? What does it feel like? Like what you're waking up and what is your brain thinking about? Because I know what my brain was thinking about when I first started my business. And it was not like, man, look what I get to do today. Right. So I would love to hear in the comments, and obviously fill it out in your workbook as well. Freedom to work on my artwork. Ooh, that's
good.
That's really cool. Yeah, so go ahead and take a moment to start thinking about what your freedom life would look like. No credit card debt. I love that. So good. Yes.
I think
What is the freedom life for you?
One of my favorite parts of this challenge is you guys dreaming big. Like it's so important that you guys cast a vision and dream big for what that freedom life looks like, whether it's supporting your family, whether it's paying off debt, whether it's financial freedom, time with the grandkids, no student loans. That was one of mine, Taylor. I totally hear you on that one. Being debt free, she's working 3 days a week and $100,000. I love these dreams.
It's my time pursuing art, travel, enjoying life like that. Oh man,
yes.
That's a good freedom life. I'll take yours, Roxanne. I love that. Paying bills, saving money, taking 3 vacations a year, being debt free. Oh my gosh, I love these. Oh, I could keep reading these forever. Okay, we'll keep going. As you guys are filling it in, whether you're putting them in the comments or you are, writing it in your workbook or on a notebook, let's go ahead and hear one story of somebody who bridged that gap.
Hi, my name is Thais Signs, and before I started the Savvy program, I had a corporate career, climbing the corporate ladder, a lot of time away from my family, and I kind of in a way was capped as well as how much I could make. Decided to join the Savvy program, resign my corporate career, and now I have time to be with my family, and most of all, I have no cap in how much I can make, and I'm so happy. It's the best decision of my life. I'm so thankful for the Savvy program. Bye.
I love Thais's family because Thais has always been like a go-getter kind of girl. Like she's one of these people that like she's gonna climb no matter what. And she was really climbing the corporate ladder. And that's where, she was thriving. I mean, she was thriving in her career, but part of her career meant that she had to fly, not just within the United States, like she had to fly all over Central and South America, and it meant a lot of time away from her kids. And so she actually started our program, the Savvy System, and ended up not only being able to replace her income, but provide enough money where her family is now actually going to move to Brazil full time. And like she's pursuing her business. She's going to live on one of the world's most beautiful beaches. Like it's crazy. And she'll send me like messages and she's like, I am living the freedom life. And it's because she had a step-by-step plan to get her from where she was to where she could be.
Yeah. I love Thais's story. And it started with exactly where y'all are in the comments. She was doing amazing in her corporate job, but it was stressful and she wasn't being able to spend time with her family like she wanted to. And so she casted a vision of, this is what I actually want. This is what I want and where I want to be, exactly where y'all are in the comments.
Yeah. So for most of us, now let's talk, we like talking big and we like talking like big picture, but then we're also really practical over here at the Virtual Savvy. So a big hindrance that a lot of people face on where you are and where you want to be is actually the time to dedicate to make it happen. I am all about like what we've been kind of doing right now is this visualization, right? Like people think that visualization is like super woo, but there is a reality that like it's like, a pitcher going to go pitch at a game, like he actually will sit and like visualize him doing the pitch over and over and over and doing the perfect pitch. Why? Because you're carving that pathway in your brain to actually be like, oh, this is possible. And it actually makes it that much easier to walk that path if you can see yourself there. Like that's actual science, not woo. But where I am like a little bit more on the like, you got to do something too. Like somebody, you can't, Babe Ruth didn't just go out and like hit the ball over and over and over, or like hit it in his mind. Like he actually went out and did it, right? Like you have to do the steps too. And so I'm definitely a like, let's get in the mindset, but then let's think of the practical steps that are actually going to like make this thing happen too, right? You can't just, you've got to actually do the steps to make it happen. So the only way you'll build this business is if you actually make the time to do it. So it's time to say yes to you. It's time to say yes to you in your time, because let's be real. So many of you guys, all those plates that you're spinning, it's all just helping other people, because that's just kind of what we do, right? So it's okay. And to actually take time to say, to take time for you and the things that you want. And that's what we're going to do today. So you guys will see in the workbook, go ahead and get ready, because we're going to be working through our time saver activity. When you do that, I want to note this. If you're stressed, oh gosh, this hits me hard. If you're stressed about having to do it all, it probably means you should be doing less. Let's say it one more time for those in the back. If you're stressed about having to do it all, you probably should be doing less. And I really want to encourage you that it is okay to go into a season where you do less, okay? Because doing less is freeing up time for you to carve out this freedom life, right? And so we're going to actually look at your schedule. We're going to actually look at the things that you're doing and say, what really could I possibly give up so that I could make room for the things that I want in the future, right? That's where the Savvy Time Saver formula comes in, and that's what we're going to talk about right now. So let's go ahead and jump in. Rachel, this was so fun to create. Rachel and I, this came out of our brain, so I hope you like it. Rachel, what does the S stand for?
S stands for set your non-movables. Okay, so grab your sheet, whether you're using it online or you're writing it down, and you're going to fill in your non-movables. These are the things that don't go anywhere. They're absolutely a must, and the time frame is a must. These are kind of the easiest things to quickly jot in to your schedule. And as we're moving through this, we have some examples on what this could look like for you. Now, let's be real. We can't create one slide that's going to show everybody's schedule that matches yours. So know that your schedule is unique to you, but this kind of gets the juices flowing and thoughts of what this could look like. Abby, you want to walk through what this slide is showing?
Yeah, for sure. Again, nobody's schedule looks the same. So we're literally just coming up with an example, but like for you, a non-movable might be that, maybe you have a 9 to 5 job. You're like, I am working 9 to 5, like the season, I can't not do that. Right.
Yeah.
Or maybe you have like young children and you're like, okay, I'm not going to not spend time with my kids. No, you shouldn't. Like, what are your non-movables? And
Yeah.
having time for the big things in your life that are important to you should still stay there. Okay.
Right.
So what does that look like? Is there a group of people that you meet with? Do you have like a small group that meets at your house? You're like, this is life to me. Do you have date night with your husband or with your kids? This means something to me. Do you have like responsibilities of like, yep, I work 9 to 5 and that's our income. So that's a non-movable, right? Sleep, please let sleep be a non-movable, right? Please do not sacrifice taking care of yourself and taking care of your body during this time. So what are your actual non-movables? We want to go ahead and put those in first. So that's set your non-movables. Next is, and it really flows in, advocate for your self-care. And this is something that I want to put in just knowing myself and knowing the type of people that usually come into these challenges and workshops with us. A lot of us are the type of people that haven't really taken a lot of time for us, and we've been spent so much time giving of ourselves to other people that sometimes like sleep does get sacrificed, or sometimes moving our body gets sacrificed, or sometimes those kinds of things. And so I really love the idea of like laying out not just what does my schedule look like in reality, but we're coming up with like an actual dream schedule here too, right? So like if I'm going to look and I'm going to say, man, I'm going to freaking get 8 hours of sleep, or 7, maybe you only need 7. That's fine. Like I'm going to get this much sleep, right? And it's going to be important. And I'm going to put in the big blocks first. So what are your non-movables? And then advocate for your self-care, right? Like, what does that look like? And that could be relationships, that could be, marriage, that could be moving your body, that could be like planning out. Like for me, a big self-care thing is we do something called Sunday meetings. So every Sunday night, my husband and I will sit down for about an hour and we plan out the whole week. What are we going to eat? Who's taking the kids what day? It literally is my sanity. I'm like, this is the 20% that saves the 80%. If you guys have heard that whole like thing before, I'm like, this meeting is my sanity, and it helps me with the whole week, because it's just like, again, I fought overwhelm with a plan. So go ahead and put in the things that are the non-movables, including advocating for your self-care.
And I love too, Abby, that it's really quiet in the comments, because that means that everybody's working on their worksheet. So actively fill this out. So for me, like something that is absolutely vital for me is a time slot between 8 and about 8:45. And that's my moving time, whether I'm walking or whether I'm going to an exercise class or whether I'm jumping on my exercise bike. That's absolutely vital for my self-care. And I actually have it blocked out on my Google Calendar that it's my move time. So look for those opportunities where you not only have to do something, you have to get up and you're getting ready during this time frame, but where are the places that you need to take care of yourself? Like Abby said, it could be relational, it could be inside of your marriage, like your brilliant idea of a Sunday meeting. I think that's awesome. Fill those inside your slots. Advocate for yourself.
100%. And I want to shout this out, which, so Priscilla says, oof, I'm working 2 jobs and my blocks are a lot.
Okay.
Like, and that's reality too, and some of what we're doing in this schedule is for you to like see it in front of your face and to see like, do I actually have the time to start a business, or to see in front of your face, I do have the time, but it means that I'm going to have to move some things around. So that's what we're doing right now. So we're going to keep going. Okay. And could non-movables and self-care overlap if chronic health issues and focus on healing is a large part of? Yeah, there's no rules. Do this however you want, right? Like you don't have to even color code it like this, anything like that. You're coming up with, what does an actual standard week look like? And we know that everyone's weeks sometimes do change, but we're coming up like, what is an actual standard week of what I'm facing? Okay, now this is one of the biggest ones, you guys. Avoid all unnecessaries. And this is where it's really, really difficult, because what you have right now are the things that are like, I have to do these things and I have to take care of myself. So what's left, right? So what's left afterwards are when you're actually looking at your schedule, it's like, well, the reality is, and I'll raise my hand, like my husband and I sometimes will get into a habit where we'll watch an hour of TV every night, like that could be it. Or you might look and you're like, gosh, I am a single mom and I am every night after work from 5 till 8, I am with my kids, making them dinner, getting them ready for bed, all of those things. So void all unnecessaries isn't always just canceling, right? It's not just marking it out. Sometimes it's, man, is there something that I could do to like swap this, right? Or if you're looking at your standard week and you're like, man, it would still be taking care of myself if I woke up each day and worked from 6 to 7. Like if I went to bed a little earlier, I could wake up at my most productive time and I could work for 1 hour every morning, right? 1 hour every morning could be 6 to 7 hours a week.
Yep.
And we tell our VAs, man, do you have 5 hours? Like if you have 5 hours, you can start building another life for yourself. It might not go as fast as somebody who's doing this full time. No, but who cares? Your journey is your journey, right?
Yeah.
But where you are and where you want to be is not anybody else's choice. It's yours.
Yeah.
So sometimes it's asking, hey, I'm a stay-at-home mom. Let me watch somebody else's kids on a Tuesday and I'm going to see if they'll watch my kids on a Thursday. We'll do a kid swap. Doesn't cost any money, right? Sometimes it's like, hey, we're going to do pizza and a movie night every Friday. And I'm going to let the kids, let that be a special time for them while I go work 3 hours on my business, right? Like sometimes you got to be creative on what avoiding all unnecessaries, because that doesn't mean you're not doing the things that you still love. Please still take care of yourself. Please still sleep, but maybe you do wake up an hour earlier. Please still hang out with your kids and spend time with them. But it's okay to have one movie night a week, like looking at those things and being like, where are the times that I could actually mark something in my schedule as a regular time to actually, evaluate the time that I have left. Okay, what's in this time? And reserve your savvy time, right? Like this is my time for me. Okay, does this make sense? Any questions about this? Go ahead in the comments and tell me what you're experiencing as you're working through this.
Yeah, and as you're working through it, remember, be honest with yourself. Like if you get caught, I see you, Angela, in the TikTok doom scroll. I know what that's like, right? Be honest with yourself. And where does that often happen? Because those are some of the unnecessities. Those are some of those pockets of time that are so extremely valuable that you can use towards your virtual assistant business. And the more that you're honest with yourself and filling this out, the better you're going to be at identifying, reserving that time for your virtual assistant business. So be honest with yourself, and also know that this is flexible. This is not a written in stone type of activity. This is not permanent. Life is going to happen. Emergencies are going to happen. Kids are going to get sick. Like whatever that looks like for you, know that there's flexibility in it. We're just identifying where that time is that you already have that you can use to starting a business.
I absolutely love that. And I love what Jessica said. This comes at a great time because I was just getting ready to adjust my schedule to utilize my most productive time. And I think that's a really self-aware thing to do. So we have a lot of people saying like, I get stuck in the doom scroll, right? Like I get stuck and I hear that like, okay, let me just paint a picture, see if I'm alone. You're like the time I have most, because my kid is waking up at 6 a.m. Whether I'm ready for it or not, my kid is waking up at 6 a.m. Now he's getting older where I can say, you don't come into my room until 6:30, go play your Legos by yourself for those 30 minutes, but like he's waking up at 6 a.m. If you have like really young kids or whatever, like they're a job, like sometimes you can't move whatever your start time is in that way. But think about this. So when do I have the most time? I personally have the most time at night. Okay. When am I the most freaking tired? At night. So for me, like working on business at nighttime was actually never a good option. For some of you guys are like, no, that is my time. Like get me at 11 o'clock. I will like literally drink coffee and power and it will be amazing. And that's my time. I can't get nothing done at night, but you know what I can do? And this is something that I personally had to start doing. If instead of doing doom scroll for an hour, I made a rule for myself that I would sit in another chair. I would literally, I have like a chair that I'll sit in and say, I'm going to sit here for 10 minutes and still scroll because that's okay. Sometimes you need to decompress. But then you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to plug in my phone across the room so I'm not tempted to actually look at it while I'm, laying in bed. I will literally put my phone on a charger across the room, read a book for 30 minutes because that way I'm like winding down my brain and then go to bed at a decent time so I can wake up an hour earlier. Like that stuff's tough. Like that's real life right there, like that, like 100%. That's how I am.
Yeah, and we've said this before, Abby, you have to be willing to say no to some things, to say yes to the things that you really want. And you have to really dig in deep and identify what are the things in my life? What are the things on my schedule? What are the things that I'm doing, plates that I'm spinning, that I need to say no to so that I can say yes to myself and to doing what I really want to do and to get where I really want to be. And Julia, I saw your comments. Denise, I saw your comments. I know that there's fear behind that. Okay. But you have to, I also, kudos for you for identifying that you are afraid. Embrace that fear. Fear is a healthy emotion to push you towards the things that you really want to do.
So good. So good. And Angel said this too, saying no has been my issue. And oh my gosh, I totally get that. Like, I totally get that. And us starting, that's why we're like, we are taking back your time, like time for you. You're not going to stop being a generous person. You're not going to stop being a person who cares for other people and helps other people. You're not going to start being a bad mom just because you do something for yourself, right? Like, let's call it what it is. Like, you're not, those things are who you are. But to take care of yourself and to do things to pursue your own dream, you are worth it. Okay. You are absolutely worth it. Somebody said, can you show me the saver thing? And if you go to the virtualsavvy.com/workbook, you're going to see all these listed there too. Okay. So some of you guys were able to do this right here, this like in real time. Some of you are like, oh, I need a little bit more time. Some of you guys are like, I'm not drawing on this paper till it's perfect. So I got to do it on a notebook and then make it pretty.
That's so true. That's so true. You called everybody out in that moment.
That's what we're doing today. We're doing call-ups. Oh, what we were going to say too is we know that this isn't reality for a lot of you guys. Some of you guys are looking at this and you're like, yeah, 10 to 2, work on my business. Ha ha. Like that is not my life. Some of you guys are working a 9 to 5, right? And taking care of family and. So it's going to look different for every person. Okay. And that's where I would say is that like, and Jacinda says, this sounds great in theory, but I'm at work during my most productive hours, So like, what do those most productive hours look like on the weekend? Like, could you potentially do a 10 to 4 every Saturday, right? Or every other Saturday, right? Like, what is it? Like, where are you going to carve out this time? And that's the reality. Some of you guys are like, maybe you're looking at this and you're like, maybe I don't have the time for this right now. And that's okay. Like sometimes there is a season where it's like, no, there is just too much going on. But for a lot of you, I'm hoping what this does is actually give you a picture, because overwhelm is more overwhelming when it's behind you, looming, when you can actually look at it and you're like, okay, realistically speaking, if I asked for help, if I asked for my mom to watch the kids one night a week, or if I went, if I woke up early every Saturday and Sunday morning and went to a coffee shop while my kids and husband stayed at home and did whatever, right? Like there are little pockets. And again, why are we even doing this? Because if you're working a full-time job, like the reality is that if you're working a full-time job and you're starting a business, guys, that is like, I'm not all this hustle culture, but there's a little bit of hustle there. Like there is a little bit of like it's gonna be hard and it's gonna be time consuming for a while. The dream, for at least for I hope a lot of you, isn't that this is life forever, right? Like if you're planning to do a full-time business and run a full-time VA business, like that's not reality for most of us. Although there are ways to do it, and that's some of the like stuff we'll talk about tomorrow, is how you can position your business to actually make the amount of money in the amount of time that you have. Because some of you want to replace your full-time income, but you only have 5 hours a week. All right, now you know reality. Let's make a plan to make it happen, which is what we're going to be doing in the next 2 days. Okay.
I think it's really important too, what you said, Abby, is really identifying your reality and what that looks like. And like Abby said, if you're working a 9 to 5 and looking to start a side business, it's going to be grit and grind, and it's going to be hard. There's going to be hustle behind it. We heard Thaisa's story earlier in the challenge today. She was working her 9 to 5 when she started her VA business. It took her about a year, 18 months to be able to fully replace her income, to be able to quit. If you're working that 9 to 5, it's going to take some time. It's going to take some creativity and some energy behind to get to that point. But what we're saying is it's absolutely possible if you say yes to you.
Yeah. And we'll do a Q&A time, Priscilla. This is a really good question. How do I replace a full-time income in just a few hours a week? So you carve out the hours that you can work. So let's say you're looking at your schedule and you're like, besides sacrificing my sleep to point where I'm only working, sleeping 2 hours a night, please don't do that.
Yeah.
Besides sacrificing my health or like these big blocks, I only have 5 hours a week. Okay. So you have 5 hours a week. It's going to take you a couple weeks to get your business all set up, right? It's going to take a couple of weeks to actually get your name and the legalities and the contracts and all the things that we're going to talk about over the next couple of days. It's going to take you a little bit of time to do that. And then you have client work. And so the reality is that if you have 5 hours a week to do client work and you're charging, let's say $30 an hour, right?
Mm-hmm.
Then you're going to be doing, what is that? It's like $150 a week. Am I right? Wait,
No.
I'm so bad. Guys, this is, let me just like publicly say how bad. Yeah, $150 a week. I think I'm right. Okay, so Rachel, check my math. You don't have to be good at math to do virtual.
Keep going.
Multi-7-figure company, and I can't do simple math. It's fine. So if you think that you can't do it, you can.
You can.
Okay, so here we go. So then the reality is, okay, I'm making this side hustle. I mean, that if you're talking $100, $200 a week, that's side hustle money, reality, right? Does that side hustle money allow you to do anything? One that could possibly create more time for you. That's one thing to look at. Does that side hustle money start going into an emergency fund that, hey, if reality is I'm taking the next 2 years to buff my emergency fund so I can quit my business, there's that, right? Or maybe my emergency fund gets so big that I could quit the part-time job and move into VA world, right? So it's like, it's coming up with that plan of what does this look like over time.
Yeah.
And it's going to look different for every person. All right, let's keep going. What do you need to do to actually commit this plan to action? And this is another piece in your workbook. So as you're working through the workbook, you look at this and maybe there's conversations you have to have, right? Maybe it's personal budget. Maybe, I mean, that's a reality for some of us too. If you're like, I want to replace my income because I make like $3,000 a month, or let's say I make $5,000 a month and I need to replace my income. Well, if you worked on your personal expenses, is there any way that maybe you wouldn't need $5,000 a month? You would only need $4,000 a month, right? So maybe it's like, I need to work on my personal budget so that I can quit my job easier with less monthly recurring income. For some of you, it's, I need to ask my mom to watch the kids one night a week. For some of you, it's, I need to evaluate, like my nighttime routine. What is it that you actually need to do to commit this plan to action? I would love for some of you to actually put this in the comments as well.
I love what Sarah said. She says it's really hard at first, telling it truthfully, right? I like to think of it as a temporary hustle for a lifetime of gain. How absolutely gold is that? Because this is for a season, y'all. I see you. I know you want out of your 9 to 5, and it's going to take a plan. It's going to take accepting what that's going to look like as far as a time frame, and what are the small steps that you need to take during this season to achieve that lifetime goal.
Yes. I love this. Brittany says, I need to reevaluate my nighttime routine. Going to bed early. Hey, I feel you, sister. It's so funny. I'm a night owl. I am a morning person married to a night owl. So I have to be like, nope. Eliminate the mindless scrolling and TV time. Just start, Jessica says. Jessica's looking at her schedule and she's like, dang it, I have the time. I just need to freaking do it.
I love that. Your action, what you need to do isn't necessarily going to be complicated. It may not be this, 10-step thing you need to do. It may just be, just start.
Yep.
I love it.
Ooh, this is a big one. I need to be okay with not doing everything for my house, AKA ask for help. Oh my gosh. it's okay if your house is dirty, especially if you're doing a side hustle. I've gotten to this point where it's like friends will come over or neighbor will stop by unexpected. I'm like, come on in, my house is trashed.
Yeah.
I don't care. My
Yeah,
house
yeah.
is trashed. I'm showing it to Rachel. It's just like, yep, that's where I'm at right now. Take it or leave it. I don't care. Now, some of you guys need that for your sanity, and I get that, and that's okay too. But sometimes it's okay to let some of it go.
Oh,
So,
somebody said stop being afraid of people's opinions. Oh,
oh, come
so
on.
good. Oh, there's so much good stuff in the comments, y'all. I can't handle it.
Yeah, Candace, I have all the time in the world. I work 9 to 5. Children are grown and single. I could easily do 30 hours a week. Boom, girl, go get
Oh,
it. Like, you
go.
got this. I need to stop
Yes.
obsessing about cleaning the house. It's hard. Maybe you need to leave the house too, you know? Like, I don't know
Yeah.
if that's a reality for you, or but like I do think there's something to be said about having a designated workspace
Mhm.
sometimes that you can like close off everything else. We have one of our employees at the Virtual Savvy for the longest time. She
Mhm.
literally made an office in her closet because she was like, I can just hide from my children back here. It's like perfect.
It works.
That's what you got to do sometimes, right? I love it. I love it. Okay. So let's keep going. Now that we've done this activity, I hope you've at least started going down the path of doing this activity. How possible does this feel?
Mm.
One being like, no, this is not going to work for me. Virtual assistance is not a reality. To 5, this is going to be tough, maybe, but
Yeah.
I can freaking do this. Like, I can do this even if my hours are limited. And that's another thing that I want to say. What some of you guys are saying, I got 30 hours a week. Some of you look at your schedule and you're like, whew, 5 is going to be a stretch.
Uh-huh.
That's okay. Our starting point is different. Tomorrow, we're going to handle what are your actual income goals. We're going to be talking about what services you choose so that you can make the most of your time, those kinds of things. And I'm seeing so many 4s and 5s. Yay. And that's okay if it's not. It's okay. Stick with us. Okay. Go ahead and use this activity. Maybe look at it again tonight. Maybe have conversations like those action items we were talking about of like, man, I need to have a conversation with somebody, or I need to set my phone across the room. Go ahead and do that first step today. Like, that's the first step that you need to take in order to actually get to that freedom life that you've been wanting, right? This path from here to there isn't easy, but it's so worth it.
Yeah, and for those of you that said, I just need to get started, stick with us. Like, show up tomorrow. We're going to take more action, figure out prices, figure out services, figure out packages. And then on Friday, we're going to talk about, okay, now how do I market? How do I go get the client? So if you're ready to start and that's a 5, stick with us each day this week.
Yep, 100%. Oh my gosh, I love this, you guys. All right, so we have a couple activities. If you didn't do the entire Savvy Time Saver activity, I know we went through it kind of quickly here on the live stream, so please take the time to finish that. It's going to be really important tomorrow because you're going to actually, so tomorrow we're talking packages and pricing. You're literally going to leave tomorrow with your virtual assistant packages, okay? You're going to have your packages tomorrow. But you need to know how many hours you can commit to the business. So that's why today's activity was so important. They really do build off of each other because you need to know, do I have 5 hours a week? Do I have 20 hours a week? Do I have 10 hours a week? Do I have 40, 50 hours a week, right? How many hours a week do you have to commit on your business? You're going to need to know that. So make sure you do the time saver activity. It's going to be vital for tomorrow's training. And then there's one more activity that I would love for you guys to do. And it is our VA personality quiz. It's a quick quiz. It literally takes less than 2 minutes, but it's going to start getting your brain in the space where you can start thinking about the types of services you would be good at. It's actually going to list off some services that might be options for you. Again, the quiz is super easy. It takes less than 2 minutes. Some of you guys probably just did it while I was talking. That's fine. It's virtualsavvy.com/savvy quiz. So if you do that quiz and come tomorrow with your results, that's really going to give you a heads up too. Both of these activities, to finish them, should not take more than 10 minutes total. Just go in, do it. That way you are ready for tomorrow. Anything else, Rachel, that I potentially missed?
No, I'm so excited for y'all who were here and stuck with us. It's been a full room today. I'm super, super excited for all of you being honest with yourself and figuring out where those pockets of time are. And now let's figure out how we can actually make it work as a business.
Yes, 100%. So like I mentioned, tomorrow we're going to be discussing discovering your profitable skill set. You're going to walk away knowing the services you're going to offer in your business. You're going to walk away knowing the rate you're going to charge, and you will have your packages decided for tomorrow. We told you this challenge is going to be very, very action-packed, different than anything, honestly, we've ever done, and I'm so pumped for it. If you enjoyed today's training, let's give a woot woot in the comments, right? And one last reminder that on Friday, we are opening the doors to the Savvy system. And for some of you, you're like, I have this much time, but I just want to get my results as quick as possible. The fastest way to a destination is with a roadmap. So if you want a step-by-step roadmap, make sure that you are on the wait list for thesavvysystem.com. We're going to be opening the doors on Friday. It's going to be incredible. Let's do this. Let's do it Q&A time, you guys. What questions do you have right now? We've got about 10 minutes. I want to make sure we're leaving enough time for you guys to take action on your assignments. So we're not going to go over 10 minutes. We'll have an extended Q&A time on Friday. But there's any last minute questions, particularly if there's anything that's going to stop you from doing these assignments, or any like objections that are in your mind right now about what we talked about today, let's get it all out there, because we want all of you guys, when we say how possible does this feel, we want you guys out of 4 out of 5. So what's stopping you from being that? Let's talk about that today, right?
Yes, Christy, same place tomorrow and Friday, 12 p.m. Central. If you signed up for the challenge, you'll get reminders in your inbox, but same time, same place.
Yeah, and if some of you guys just happened upon this live stream and you didn't actually sign up for the challenge, go to the virtualsavvy.com/challenge. You can still sign up. It'll send you the replay of today. You'll get the workbook. It'll send you reminders for tomorrow. So just make sure that you're going and you're actually signed up for the official challenge, even if you just stumbled upon this live stream, because it's going to give you all the things that you need, all the reminders and everything. So yeah. Great.
Oh, look at Jessica's comment. Already texting one of my non-movables to make more room for business time.
I love it. Yay. Come on. That's about taking action right there. That's so awesome. I love it. Oh, this is a great one. My biggest challenge is overcoming the fear of marketing my services. Yes. So we're going to talk about that in detail, Indra. In fact, the best way to fight overwhelm is with a plan, right? And so we're literally giving you a marketing plan. In fact, we came up with a bonus that we're giving to you guys on Friday, which is like a step-by-step. Here's what to do every day to market your business. It's going to be really, really epic. So yes, I promise we're getting to that. And I want to also, Indra, just say one thing, and I'm giving a little bit of a spoiler for Friday, but that's okay. I know marketing is scary. Like, it is so scary to put yourself out there. So most virtual assistants that you talk to that have been in the industry a while, I've been doing this 2 years, 3 years, 5 years, 10 years. The number one way, like, how do you get clients? It's the question they get, right? The number one way that most VAs who have been in the industry a while get clients is through referrals. That's actually what they say, referrals. Okay, well, that's not the number one way you're going to get them in the beginning, right? You do have to put yourself out there. But the encouraging thing to know is that like, oh, I don't love marketing, is that number one, you can replace your full-time income. Most of us will be able to replace our full-time income with 4 to 7 clients. So you don't need hundreds of people to say yes. You potentially just need 4 people to say yes, right? So it's not like this, like, oh, I'm always going to. And when you do really, really great work for those people, what's so amazing is that over time, you almost don't have to market yourself as much, because like your good work and your good name is going to do the marketing for you. Referrals is literally one of the best types of marketing, but it's so crazy because most of us are like, we fear marketing, and then we do it and we get really good at it. And then over time, it's like, I don't really have to do this as much because now just referrals are coming in, right? So just know, it's a valid fear. So many of our students come in with that fear, but if you have a plan and it's just like, all I have to do is follow the plan, it makes it a lot easier. So good. This is a good question. How flexible usually are client timeframes? So I saw somebody asking, like, is it okay if the only time I have to work on my business is the weekends? Or what if the only time I have to work on my business is from 10 to midnight every night? Like, how does that even work? Is that a possibility, Rachel?
Absolutely. And that's kind of one of the things that we're going to look at tomorrow is those services. You have to keep a few things in mind when you're considering what your services are going to be. And one of those key things is, when do you have the time availability to work? If it's going to be that late night owl, 10 o'clock to midnight time frame, probably answering customer service emails is not going to be an ideal service for you, because that may be more stringent on when you need to be available for your clients. But it's digesting what are the services that I can offer that can be done at any time, anywhere. And there are so many services that you can do that are not going to require you to be available during the 9 to 5 clock in, clock out time hour. And you're a contractor too, so you have the freedom to choose when you're going to work. And this is something we walk through inside of the Savvy system, but how to communicate that availability to your clients and what that looks like. So absolutely you can, if it's outside of those time frames.
Yeah. Oh, so good. So good. There's so many services that can be done on off hours. There
Absolutely.
really, really are. I mean, and that's where we get the same question about people who, I live in Africa, I live in Australia, I live in Europe. Like, I don't have the same time zones as maybe US clients, which is where I would maybe target my marketing. So it's like, but again, it doesn't matter if you're working at 3 o'clock in the morning, our time, like my time, then it doesn't matter as long as I'm getting the results. So things that you could look at would be things like, potentially Pinterest management or social media management. I mean, you can schedule posts like a month ahead of time on some platforms, right? If you're building a website, it doesn't matter if you're doing that at 3 a.m., right? If you're setting up Dubsado for people, it doesn't matter if you're doing that at 3 a.m. Like, there's so many different services that you can do. Research, travel booking, a lot of those things you can do not having to actually be on at regular hours. So we will get more into that tomorrow. Really, really good questions though. So good. Do I have a reset the details and explains the job descriptions for the types of services that are listed in the quiz results? I don't, but that's a really great question. And Heather, if there's one in particular that you were like, oh, I don't understand what this is. Like, what is a Pinterest manager? What is a podcast editor? What is whatever? Go ahead and drop it in the comments, and hopefully we can answer it here live. Great question though.
Yeah, really good question.
Can I start getting clients before my business name is registered? Yeah, you can start. I mean, you can just start getting clients just using your name. My name is Abby Ashley, and your clients will at the end of the year fill out a 1099 tax form just to Abby Ashley. Like, you don't actually even need a business name, but we obviously teach you how to get a business name, do all of those things. But literally you can just start contracting without that. So good question.
I think one of the best things that has happened to myself included and many of our students is that they started getting clients by following our step-by-step process, and they got them so quickly that they had to catch up with all of the other things. Their ducks weren't necessarily in a row and ready to go, but they had a client that was ready to pay. Oh, I got to do this and do this and do this. Sometimes taking action can actually benefit you to take the action that you need to.
So true. So good. Heather asked, do I need to trademark my business name? No, I actually wouldn't recommend that either. Trademarking can be really expensive and time consuming. Now, what you do need to do, and again, this is all covered in our course, but I'll give you a little sneak peek, is you do need to make sure that your name is not already trademarked or has like prior use from somebody else. So Google your name and then go to sites like there's a USTPO trademark office. So you can either Google that again, or there's a website called trademarkia.com, I think. And there's a couple different resources that we give to you in our course that you can go and make sure that your name isn't already trademarked, because you don't want to be getting a cease and desist for using somebody else's trademark name. However, you can go ahead and start using a name without ever trademarking it. In fact, if you go to trademark it later, then it's good for you to start using it early because it shows proof of use. So that's one of the things that you'll actually need to trademark your name is like, hey, if you trademark your name in 2027, you'll be able to say, look, I started using it in 2023. Okay. So it's actually a good thing to start using your name before you trademark it. Great question.
Really?
These are the things we don't know, right? Like, you don't know this stuff until you do it, until you ask somebody. That's why it's so important to have a guide. It's so important to have somebody who's been there a few steps ahead of you, who can answer these questions for you. That's totally fine. I had no idea what the crap I was doing when I first started my business. That's why we created this course, because I'm like, I wish I had this when I started.
Bernita has a question, Abby, that I want to bring forward. I don't know if you can see it. Bernita I'm so glad that you're here as a student. Do note that today, and this is fun information for everybody else, but today is Savvy Development Day, and we have an open office hours for Savvy Systems students. So I want to challenge you, if you can make it to the open office hours today, to bring that question and we can walk through it together during that call. But there is so much power. She's asking, are niches actually better? And our opinion is absolutely yes. We encourage all of our newbies to kind of just get started with what you can and learn what you love and learn what you don't love, and then look at possibly niching down later, whether it be to a specific type of client or whether it be to a specific type of service. Because once you get niche down, then the possibilities of scaling are much more in your favor. And you can even niche down to general admin. That can be your specialty, but there's power in niching down. But if you can make it to that call today, Vernita, do that and we can walk through that together.
So good. So good. Oh, this is a good one. My biggest thing making me nervous is that I don't see my niche being served. Should I do market research? Will you cover that? So I'd love to know what your niche is. So as long as it's somebody who can pay you money to do VA services, it's a good niche. Like, I mean, that's the only times that I get nervous about people's niches is if they're like, my niche is brand new business owners or startups, or even sometimes, and I'm going to step on some toes here, this is not always the case, but sometimes people who say my niche is nonprofits, even, it makes me a little nervous. It can be done. I'm not saying it can't be done, but you're going to have to find the nonprofits that can actually pay your money, because you don't want to be doing your services for free. Like, you have to have people who can actually pay you money to do the thing. So so I'd love to know what niche it is that you feel like maybe isn't being served. Guys, we have had like the stuff that our students, the niches our students have come up with.
Yes.
Sometimes I'm just like, oh my gosh, everything from like MLM, like my VA business serves like Mary Kay, you know, what's other MLMs? I'm like
Color Street, the finger.
Color Street. Yeah, like so that's a niche that people have chosen. Some people have chosen like authors. I only work with authors. There was a girl, I forget her name now. There was a girl who her niche was people in like the horse industry. Do you remember that?
Yes, we also have somebody, this has been my favorite. We have somebody that supports pet influencers on social media.
Yes. So like, you know, people's pets who have an Instagram, like, my dog Carl has 1 million followers on Instagram. Those are the people. That's her niche.
That's her. It's brilliant. I'm like, girlfriend, you got, and she's doing amazing.
Yeah.
Sometimes you have to think outside of your box, but think about what you love doing. She loves animals, and she was already following some of those pet influencers anyway. So, you know, it works out.
Yes. So good. Oh, Teresa says that she took the quiz and found her type. Yay. I love that. So good. Will the sessions be recorded to watch over? Yes, 100%. Way to go coming and watching the end of this while you are still in your 9 to 5. That is that hustle. Come on. That's awesome. But yes, all of these challenges, they will be over on YouTube, on our Facebook page. If you go to thevirtualsavvy.com/challenge and you're signed up for the emails, then you'll also get the replays of all of these as well. Okay. So good. Let's see. I'm going through and trying to find more questions.
Oh, I saw a question. Do you need to, or can you get clients before you have a contract? I don't remember who asked that, but I saw that. Our number one suggestion, there it is, Charlene. Absolutely. With every single client, always have a contract. With every single client, always have a contract. It protects you and it protects them. But please, 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 don't just go Google contract and find something. We actually have inside of our Savvy system, you get the templates to a contract that you can use for you and your client, or you can use when you eventually have to hire a subcontractor. So please, and we have that available separately in a separate product as well. But please, please, please don't just search and find one. Ours was developed by our attorney, and it was developed specifically for services like virtual assistant. So always have a contract and always have a legally binding contract.
Yes, please, 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 please always have a contract. And if you find out that the Savvy system is not the path for you, if you're like, I just can't swing it this time, we do have just a contracts package on our website too, the virtualsavvy.com/store. And it's $97, but again, it's your contract for you and a client. It's a subcontracting agreement. And it was created by our attorney for specifically for virtual assistants.
Yeah.
So it's a ironclad contract. And if you have questions about the contract, we even can connect you with the attorney to ask those questions. You can't just ask any legal question, but you can ask a question specifically about the contract. It also comes with a video explaining the contract. And I think that that's something that's really important, guys. You shouldn't just sign your name to something that you don't know what you're signing. Like, you should actually know and understand what your contract says. And so I think that's really important, and why it's important to have a good contract.
Yeah.
Can I use my name as a business name? Yeah, 100% you can. And for the longest time, my business name was Ashley Assistants. I was able to make, $10,000 a month, replace my husband's income with the name Ashley Assistants. So don't overthink it.
Don't overthink it. That's huge. And you're going to have that come up all the time throughout your business journey.
Yeah.
Don't overthink it.
My website was just abbyashley.com. Boom. Easy. Let's go.
I actually was telling my husband the other day, I'm considering buying our children's names URLs so that we have that for them in the future for whatever reason, because who knows what they could do with it.
I totally did this like a week ago. I bought my kids.
Did you?
Yeah.
See, Joe, let's do it.
Oh, this is a great question. What if I don't want to niche? My niche is the skills I have, like general admin, bookkeeping. Yeah. Actually, you know what? I will say this. We actually, for most of you guys, we're going to recommend not choosing a niche yet. Like, it's one of those, like, don't choose your niche, let your niche choose you. It sounds really cheesy, but like, in reality, you don't know. Most of us don't know. We don't know what we like to do yet. Like, what if you're just doing general admin? You're kind of doing a little bit of everything. I'm answering emails, maybe doing like bookkeeping, maybe doing like social media. And you're like, oh, I hate social media. Okay, well, a good thing you didn't niche down to that before you knew that, right? Mm-hmm. Or maybe you're working and someone says, hey, could you edit this podcast for me? And you're like, oh, I've never edited a podcast. It's okay. Here's how you do it. Cool. I can do it. And you do it and you're like, I freaking love this. And you never would have known it unless you just did general admin. So unless if you already have a connection to a niche, and unless if you're like, hey, I've been in the real estate industry for 20 years. Like, I know real estate. All my connections are real estate. Please be a real estate VA, right? Like, that's a thing. Right. Just be a real estate VA. Or if you're like, I've been building websites for 10 years, like, please don't go offer, whatever, like OBM services, online business manager services. Build websites if you're good at that. Like, it's okay to do the thing if you already know how to do it, or if you already have connection to the industry. But if not, we tell everyone, just start out as general admin, because that way you can try a lot of different things and see what you like and see what you don't like.
Yeah. So good. Sarah even said in the comments, she replaced her income with being a general admin. And don't think of a niche as everything outside a general admin. Being a general admin actually is kind of a niche, right? And you can niche towards maybe a certain type of client. So absolutely, you can replace your income. Totally doable. You don't have to go farther than that.
Yeah. I saw a couple questions about our contracts inside of our course, and we'll be telling you more about all of that on Friday. But the contracts are made for individuals in the United States. However, you can use them outside the United States. We just always recommend that you would have an attorney look over them in your state, or in your country, in the country where you live, just to be like, oh, actually, in the United Kingdom, you also need to have this, or you need to change this for this reason. It's still going to be cheaper than having a contract made from scratch. So that's kind of our, can you use it? Yes, but we would recommend having an attorney look over it. Okay, you guys, so many good questions. Let's do maybe one more.
Find a good one, Abby. Find a good one.
Okay. Let's see.
So many good questions, y'all.
There's so many good questions, you guys. I'm loving this. Okay. So one that I saw and then I lost it. Michelle's like, we keep saying general admin. What is general admin? That's a very good question. Part of what we're going to be talking about tomorrow. So when I say general admin, what I am usually referring to are those most basic tasks that most businesses need that are administrative tasks that they need to get off their plate. So for me, that usually means a lot of it's customer service emails. I think I saw Priscilla earlier saying like, I could just answer customer service emails from you people. That sounds like a dream. That's literally one of the top things that a lot of like, especially solopreneurs, like let's say I'm a blogger or I have an e-commerce store or I'm a health coach and business is starting to pick up. It's usually one of the first things that business owners like to hand off. If they're not really admin type of people, then they want to hand off their customer service emails. And if they're not really creative people, if they're more administrative, they usually want to hand off like social media. So those are two really, really like basic level. If you're more creative, then doing like social media management. And if you're more administrative, doing that general admin, which is customer service emails, travel booking, research, maybe writing simple blog posts if you're good at writing, sending invoices, sending invoice reminders. Sometimes it's like phone call reminders if that's something you want to do. Like, and you don't have to. You get to choose your services, and that's actually what we're going to be doing tomorrow is listing out your services, and you will leave with 5 services that you can do in your business. It's going to be amazing.
That's a tall order, Abby. That's a tall order. I'm so excited. I wish that we had the challenge when I was starting my virtual assistant business. It would have saved me so much time. I'm stoked. It's going to be super fun.
It's going to be so great, you guys. Thank you so much for joining us today, and we will see you tomorrow for day 2.
Bye, guys.
Bye.